By 2026, the EV transition reached a critical milestone. Electric vehicles were finally becoming ubiquitous, and more importantly, affordable for the average driver. At the center of this shift was BYD. The Chinese giant positioned itself as the primary champion of this mass-market promise, scaling production to a level that threatened to dominate driveways across the planet. However, right as the company prepared for total global expansion, the momentum stopped. Instead of open roads, their vehicles met a sudden and coordinated closure of international markets. International politics and trade barriers now stand between consumers and these low-cost vehicles. Global governments are moving rapidly to protect their own domestic industries from an influx of foreign technology. This collision reveals a tension at the heart of the Green Revolution. BYD's specific brand of manufacturing dominance is testing the limits of global trade in a way that the industry's established players never anticipated. BYD's rapid ascent was a deliberate result of their internal architecture. They operate with a manufacturing control most legacy automakers spent decades avoiding. Rather than sourcing components globally, BYD controls almost every link, from raw battery minerals to final vehicle assembly. This chart compares manufacturing costs of a legacy automaker against BYD's consolidated model. By eliminating external supplier markups, BYD produces vehicles at a fraction of the cost. These aggressive pricing strategies force traditional manufacturers, burdened by high overhead, into deep financial losses. To export this advantage, BYD commissioned their own fleet of massive cargo vessels. These ships deliver thousands of vehicles, challenging the market share of established local brands. BYD didn't just build a cheaper car. They engineered a manufacturing engine that threatens to render the traditional automotive business model obsolete. This expansion comes at a vulnerable moment. As global demand for electric vehicles plateaus, domestic automakers have little defense against lower-priced competition. In response, the United States deployed legal measures to block this expansion, prioritizing the survival of its domestic auto sector over foreign imports. This diagram shows how governments use heavy tariffs to neutralize BYD's efficiency. By adding a massive tax onto the import price, they artificially inflate the cost for consumers, bringing it in line with domestic models. The European Union is following a similar path, launching its own regulatory counteroffensive. This creates a unified Western front dedicated to curbing Chinese manufacturing. Governments are now using trade policy to counteract manufacturing prowess. In this environment, pure engineering innovation is no longer a guarantee of market success. By 2026, the global electric vehicle transition shifted from a market-driven tech race into a deeply politicized confrontation. This map shows the fractured reality of the current market. While BYD has the technology and the scale to lead, they must now navigate a landscape divided by trade blocs and rising protective barriers. BYD's survival strategy now involves pivoting toward less regulated emerging markets, or making the massive investment to build local factories within the regions that have blocked their exports. The consequences of this friction are felt most directly by the individual consumer. For those looking to adopt electric power, the available choices are now fewer and more expensive. By restricting access to the most affordable hardware, these policies slow global adoption and delay the stated goals of the broader Green Revolution. Engineering prowess and manufacturing scale successfully solved the challenge of making the electric car accessible. Today, the progress of that revolution depends entirely on whether international politics will allow those cars to cross the border.